Hey everyone, and welcome back. In the world of crypto, it's so easy to get lost in all the noise, right? So today, we're going to cut right through it. We're taking a real pulse check on the Cardano ecosystem to see what's actually getting built and shipped in December 2024. Let's get into it.
I mean, this is the big question, isn't it? If you look past the price charts, past all this social media hype, what are the teams on the ground actually doing? What problems are they solving for you, the user? Well, that's exactly what we're here to figure out. So here's the game plan. First, we'll look at how projects are tweaking their products based on what you're telling them. Then, we'll see how they're breaking into new markets. After that, we'll dive into how the community is really the engine behind all of this. And finally, we'll zoom out and see what it all means for the road ahead. Okay, first up, the user experience. Look, it's one thing to launch a product, but it's a whole other thing to actually listen, adapt, and make it better over time. And honestly, we're seeing a ton of that happening in the Cardano ecosystem right now. A fantastic example of this is Bodega. The team's been super transparent about this. They acknowledged that their V3 market model, while it had some cool ideas, just wasn't hitting the mark for a lot of their creators and users. They didn't just ignore the feedback, they compiled it all and really took it to heart. So what was the actual problem? Well, as you can see here, the V3 model was just too high risk for creators. It kind of forced them into situations they weren't comfortable with. The solution? It's pretty smart, actually. They're going back to what worked so well in V2, giving creators more control, way less risk, and much better protection for their funds. Simple, but effective. And they are not wasting any time. The team is already testing custom odds, they're building out a hybrid model so creators can choose what's best for them, and they're bringing back those popular risk-free markets this month. This is the kind of rapid response that builds a really strong, loyal community. And it's not just Bodega making these kinds of moves. MinSwap just dropped its new API, which is a total game changer for any developer in the DeFi space. It makes it so much easier to build new tools using their data. And at the same time, you've got Vola Network and World Mobile rolling out new platforms and programs to make everything they do more accessible and easier to use. All right, so we've seen how projects are making their products better, but how are they getting those awesome products into more people's hands? Let's talk about how the Cardano ecosystem is seriously expanding its reach. Accessibility is everything. And as you can see here, MinSwap's MIN token is now on KuCoin, and World Mobile's WMT is on Bitvavo. Now, these listings are a huge deal. Why? Because they make it easier for people to buy and sell, which improves liquidity, and they open the door to a whole new wave of users and investors, especially in Europe. But new listings are only one piece of the puzzle. Check this out. Aegon is taking it to another level by partnering with a major digital asset firm, Amber Group, specifically to boost the liquidity for its IAG token. For anyone trading IAG, this means a much smoother, more efficient experience. And Aegon is really putting their money where their mouth is. The team itself is providing 5 million of its own IAG tokens to make sure there's deep liquidity in the market. What does that mean for you? It means tighter spreads, less slippage, just a way better and more reliable trading experience all around. And here's the real kicker. Those 5 million tokens, they're locked for at least a year. Now, this is huge. It doesn't just improve trading now, it shows a massive long-term commitment from the team, and it helps stabilize the token's price by taking some of that immediate selling pressure off the table. And this global push just keeps on going. Aegon also locked down a major patent in South Korea for its storage tech, which is a huge deal. Meanwhile, World Mobile is diving into real-world assets, RWAs, and they're launching a new product with ZBEC.net. These are all calculated, strategic moves to build a powerful long-term global presence. So this brings us to our third and maybe most important theme, the community. Because in a decentralized ecosystem like Cardano, the users aren't just customers, right? They're co-creators, they're governors, they're testers. This is where that grassroots spirit really comes to life. This quote from the Bodega team, it just says it all. This isn't just good PR. It's proof of a healthy feedback loop. When a project's team can openly say, "We hear you," and then actually act on it, that's how you build some serious trust. And it goes way beyond just feedback. We're talking about direct governance. Material Protocol is a perfect example. Through their DAO, that's a decentralized autonomous organization, the community is literally voting right now on 2 brand new tokens that they themselves came up with.
This is what true decentralization looks like in the wild.
The community is also getting its hands dirty with crucial testing. World Mobile is using closed groups and ambassadors to stress test their core infrastructure. Volan Network is doing the exact same thing, bringing in community members to run storage nodes. This makes sure that by the time these products launch, they've already been battle tested by the very people who are going to use them. And of course, being an active participant comes with some nice rewards. Bodega's staking program, just as one example, is offering over a 13% APY right now. That is a powerful incentive for people to hold long-term and to really align their own success with the project's success. So let's step back for a second. We've looked at all this activity, but what are the big takeaways? What does this flurry of development really tell us about the health of the ecosystem and where things are headed?
Well, it really boils down to this powerful three-pronged push. First, products aren't just sitting there. They're actively being refined based on what users want. Second, projects are making smart, strategic moves to expand into new markets for long-term growth. And third, the community is right there in the driver's seat. From governance to testing, it's the sign of a really mature and resilient ecosystem.
So where does that leave us? We've seen this incredible burst of activity all across the Cardano ecosystem, from user-focused tweaks to big market expansions and deep community involvement. The real question now is, which of these developments is going to be the one that truly defines Cardano's next chapter? Only time's going to tell, but with this much being built, one thing is for sure. It is going to be a very exciting year ahead. Thanks for tuning in.